At 61, Clara believed life had already given her more than she could ever hope for. Once a woman without children, she had become the mother of 5 adopted sons: Michael, Daniel, Liam, Lucas, and Noah, who built her a new home to honor her on her 60th birthday. But life's miracles didn't stop there. A year after her sons celebrated a joint wedding in a vibrant ceremony, their wives welcomed children of their own, each giving birth in a different month of the same year. Clara's family grew to include 6 grandchildren, 4 girls and 2 boys. Michael's wife, the eldest son's partner, gave birth to twin girls, whom Michael named Rose and Mary. The names weren't just beautiful. They were a tribute to the woman who sacrificed everything to give him and his brothers a future: Clara. As she held each grandchild, her hands trembled and tears of joy blurred her vision. From a life once marked by solitude, Clara was now a grandmother to 6 little angels. Word of her story spread through the community, and Clara, the woman who turned pain into purpose and emptiness into a legacy, became a topic of heartfelt conversation once again.
But fate has a way of testing even the strongest souls. One afternoon, as Clara returned from visiting Noah, her youngest son, she noticed a crowd gathered near her street. Curious, she asked her driver to stop. Stepping out, she was met with a sight that stopped her heart. A 7-year-old boy lay unconscious on the ground, still in his school uniform, beside his 9-year-old sister, who was sobbing uncontrollably. "My brother fell," the girl whispered. "He was crying because he was hungry." Without hesitation, Clara rushed the boy to the hospital, but it was too late. The child passed away, alone, hungry, and forgotten. Clara collapsed, weeping as if she had lost her own grandchild, as if a piece of her heart had shattered. That night, sleep eluded her. The boy's image haunted her, and she cried through the hours, her heart heavy with grief and helplessness.
At 5 a.m., amidst her sorrow, a spark of inspiration ignited in Clara's mind. She resolved to open a free kitchen on her street, serving meals to impoverished school children from Monday to Friday, ensuring no child would suffer the hunger that took that boy's life. She immediately texted her family's WhatsApp group, sharing the tragedy and her plan. Her sons, Michael, Daniel, Liam, Lucas, and Noah, were deeply moved and pledged their full support: financial, logistical, and emotional. The family wasted no time. Within months, everything was ready. The kitchen opened its doors under the name Mother's Grace Free Kitchen. They hired chefs and staff to prepare hot, hearty meals. Every afternoon after school, children from the neighborhood flooded in, their laughter filling the air, their bellies full, and their spirits lifted. Many who had dropped out of school due to hunger now attended regularly, their eyes bright with hope.
Clara's actions didn't just change the children's lives, they touched the entire community. One day, parents and guardians of the children arrived with gifts, expressing profound gratitude for Clara's kindness. Soon, the story of the kitchen spread across social media, moving thousands. Support poured in, donations of money, food, and even offers to cover staff salaries. Local companies committed to supplying rice, noodles, and spices monthly, keeping the pantry stocked. The kitchen became more than a place for meals. It became a symbol of hope, compassion, and the power of an open heart.
By Christmas, Clara's family, her sons, daughters-in-law, and 6 grandchildren, came together to do something bigger, distributing food, clothing, and gifts to the community. Amid the festive bustle, as Clara served with a smile, her eyes caught a man pushing through the crowd for food. She blinked, looked again, and time seemed to freeze. It was James, the husband who abandoned her 27 years ago, leaving only a note before vanishing from her life when she couldn't bear children. Her heart pounded. She approached and lightly touched his shoulder. When he turned, Clara gasped, not out of fear, but from the shock of an old wound reopening. James was no longer the man she once knew. He was frail, weathered, dressed in tattered clothes, his eyes clouded with regret and pain. "Clara," he whispered, his voice hoarse. She said nothing, turning away in silence. Michael, her eldest, sensed something was wrong. "Mom, what's going on?" She shook her head. "Not now." She continued serving and smiling, but inside a storm raged.
That night, alone in her room, Clara sat by the window, memories flooding back. James' smile, their wedding vows, the agony of waking to an empty house. The next morning, she called Michael and Daniel to her side and told them everything. "I want to know where he is," she said. Daniel hesitated, concerned. "Are you sure, Mom?" She nodded. "I've spent my life wondering why he left. I need to hear it from him." Michael went to investigate and returned that afternoon. "He moved here last week, working as a security guard at the market. He's lost everything," he reported. Clara stood still for a moment, then said, "Take me to him." They led her to a small, run-down room where James sat on an old chair, staring at the floor. When she entered, he looked up, stunned. With a calm but firm voice, Clara asked, "Why did you leave me?"
James stood, frail and trembling, his voice shaky. "I left because I was ashamed," he began. "The failed treatments, the judgment from others, your tears every night. I felt I wasn't enough. I thought leaving would free you to find someone better, someone who could give you children." Clara listened, her face expressionless. Then she spoke, her voice low but sharp. "You didn't free me. You broke me. I spent years wondering what I did wrong, wondering if I wasn't enough. But the truth is, you chose to give up." James bowed his head, tears falling. "I don't deserve forgiveness," he whispered. "But I've watched you from afar. I saw you raise those boys, saw you become an incredible mother." Clara sighed. "I forgave you long ago," she said softly. "Not because you deserve it, but because I needed to let go to live." She turned to her sons. "This man is no longer my husband, but he's still human, and he needs help." Michael and Daniel nodded, extending a hand to James, not out of duty, but out of the love Clara had instilled in them.
In the weeks that followed, Clara quietly supported James. He took on small jobs, gradually finding purpose again. A year later, with Clara and her son's help, James started a small business that grew, not through luck, but through humility and a second chance. One afternoon, he stood at Clara's gate, no longer the man who left, but someone reborn through compassion. He knelt before her, voice choked with emotion. "Thank you for changing my life." Clara smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I didn't do anything for you," she said. "God did. All glory belongs to Him. Life isn't about what we want or chase. It's about the mercy that finds us when we least deserve it." James bowed his head, and for the first time in decades, he smiled, understanding the love Clara lived by. A love that doesn't abandon, doesn't demand, but uplifts and heals. Clara didn't live the life she once dreamed of, but she chose to love. 5 boys no one wanted, a stranger's child lost to hunger, and even the husband who abandoned her. All were touched by her boundless heart. Her story teaches us that love doesn't need perfect moments or ideal conditions. It only needs a willing heart. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom, choosing not to let others' decisions define your happiness. A legacy isn't built on bloodlines, but on sacrifice, impact, and love. Clara didn't give birth to kings. She raised them. She didn't just feed hungry children. She transformed their lives. Her legacy lies not in fame, but in the meals served, the tears wiped away, and the hearts healed.